have to believe that we're in control of our own destiny, that you can save me, that I can save you. You have to have faith that any of this is true.
Well, it's happening. I'm sure you've heard the news. Today, TDC President Dan Rowe has resigned. And the former treasurer, he gave up that role a couple of weeks ago. At the last TDC meeting on January 13th, Yonnie Patronis, he wants out. They've called a hair on fire emergency TDC/CVB meeting. So these are two different boards. It's the TDC, the Tourist Development Council. They're an advisory board to the county commission. And they also are a government body that was created by the county, and they oversee the nonprofit CVB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, also known as Visit Panama City Beach. There's so many layers to all this stuff. I know. That's how they layer corruption. Always remember, when it comes to stuff like this, when you've got to launder money, complexity masks fraud. You have all of the different boards, so you have what? Plausible deniability. But what they don't have is public opinion. And that matters. It matters because the cronies have fractured. The vibrations have turned into major earthquakes. There are fault lines all over the place. It's unbelievable. Wait. So the meeting, by the way, the emergency hair on fire TDC meeting about the credit card caper that's so complex that Sheriff Ford can't figure it out, but they've got outside auditors. They're doing inside investigations while the sheriff's investigating, and the sheriff says they have expert auditors, forensic ones even, and they're trying to figure out where that credit card, the platinum card, that Dan Rowe gave to Aaron Lee in 2024 and didn't check on it for 20 months. How in the world was Aaron Lee able to defeat the security and all of the way the contracts say they're supposed to handle finances? But instead they had instead of doing it the way it should be done, they had this man, Yonnie Patronis. See, he was the treasurer in 24. He's been there like 20 years on the board of directors for the TDC. Bad. Nonprofits ought to change their boards out about every 3 years. Anyway, he recommended Aaron Lee. The treasurer did. And Aaron Lee was hired in 2024 to oversee expenditures. So those were the two guys. And they were very close before Aaron Lee was hired in 2024. Very close. I'll just say it. I posted it, so I guess I'll say it. I hate saying this, though. Maybe they didn't know Aaron Lee was a shady guy. Maybe they didn't know about Slim Shady's background. They did, especially the treasurer. They were good friends. And sources tell me, and I feel comfortable enough to announce it because it is important to the story. Sources tell me that Aaron Lee allegedly stole more than $200,000 from his mom. And she went to Captain Anderson's to ask her son's good friend, Yonnie Patronis, if he could help her. And he couldn't. But he was able to help Aaron Lee get a job overseeing expenditures, even though in 2023, the year before he was hired on Yonnie's recommendation, he was sued by American Express National Bank for a $61,000 debt. Everybody knew this, but Sheriff Ford and the prosecutors, State Attorney Larry Bassford, they don't think that there's any fiduciary duty breaches at all. Well, there are, and I'm going to break them down for you tonight. But anyway, it is true. Dan Rowe has resigned, and I drove him right on out of there a little bit earlier. So far, 2 horses have been identified. If you have any information that the TDC had more tourist horses, please send me a tip at Watchdog Alerts. That's one word, I believe. Watchdog Alert at protonmail.com. All right, I'm going to show you some specifics about how this all works after, and it's going to be pretty quick. But after I do that, you will understand the layers of corruption, how complexity masks fraud, how they strive for plausible deniability. And I'll show you all of that right after this.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. I think they sort of thought, or maybe still think, that by getting rid of Dan Rowe, having him resign, having him Dan Rowe resign. I don't know why the victim of the crime, according to the sheriff and the state attorney's office and the prosecutors, I don't know why the victim has to resign. I mean, we need justice for Dan Rowe. Now, I read over the prosecutor's papers, and from what I've read so far, they're relying on testimony, and they do that often here. Here's my prediction, and obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and my predictions are normally wrong, so take it for a grain of salt. But I don't think, well, first of all, I don't think either of the arrests so far of Aaron Lee and of their vice president of sales and marketing, Stephen Bailey, I don't think these go to trial. I think that I would bet you that Bailey's ends up getting reduced to a misdemeanor. And quite frankly, that's probably about right. In fact, it might be, well, no, it's probably about, because I went over it. I'm not going to go over it again, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it tonight, because what he did was approved by the president, Dan Rowe. And what the whole board does is approved by the county commission. And the person ultimately responsible for looking at the finances is comptroller / clerk of court, Bill Kinsall. All right, but they were just last week or earlier even this week, they were doing the TDC credit. They're not anymore. They're not tonight. They've got a meeting scheduled. Hey, if you want to go to the TDC meeting, it's open to the public, and it's at the Panama City Beach City Hall. It's right on the corner of Back Beach Road and Highway 79. And it's going to be, I believe, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, at 9 a.m. on Monday morning in the Panama City Beach City Hall chambers. They've been doing these without live streaming them forever. This one will be video recorded, however, the whole thing. Okay, so you'll end up seeing whatever the hell happens. And knowing these contracts that the presidents of these big government nonprofits have. Don't be surprised if Dan Rowe gets a big golden parachute on the way out. And I'm telling you, the TDC board is dreading having to announce Dan Rowe's retirement and honoring whatever's in the contract. But I know how these contracts work, and we're going to be asking questions again. If you want to be there, and there's a lot of people, so you just blend right in. I don't blend right in, unfortunately, because I've got to go up and ask questions. And there's all these people around. The press hates me. I'm sitting back there with, the pretty girls, and doing the reporting, and they've got the big cameras and tripods. I'll have mine. We're all three back there. And also the News Herald reporter, who's pretty good, actually, I think. Dylan Gentile, he's back there. So there's plenty of room for the three of them, but I'm kind of a big guy, and I kind of scoot back in the corner by the IT people, and they got to kind of scoot, and I feel bad about it, but that's where they make me. That's where they make me go. So I've got to have the tripod up. We'll be recording. I'll be walking around snapping pictures, but I'm also going to have to walk up and ask the TDC again if they'll admit or deny several statements that I'm going to make. And if they deny them and correct them, I will report what they tell me. If they don't deny them, I'm going to take them as factual. Now, we've had public record requests to the TDC for 2 weeks. And one of them is very, very simple. I want one piece of paper. You think that's a voluminous request? One sheet of paper that indicates exactly the name on the card of Aaron Lee's platinum card issued by Dan Rowe, Dan Rowe's company card. I want some paper, some document that shows the name on the card and the financial institution. Because I think the CVB, being a nonprofit, they're able to donate. Remember, they have almost a $60 million annual revenue, this nonprofit. But they're able to take that and donate it to other nonprofits and other companies, as long as those nonprofits and companies are promoting tourism. So I've got to go up there and make some statements. And if you remember, I've been covering the former mayor of Panama City Beach, Mark Sheldon. Mark Money Mover Sheldon. You remember that? He lost a couple of years ago to Stuart Tetimer. And Money Mover Sheldon he also owns Gulf Coast Jam. And he came here in 2015 from Alabama. And as soon as he got here, his friends at the TDC, they gave him some seed money to start the music festivals, Gulf Coast Jam, Sand Jam, and it was like $1.5 million in 2015. But the seed money continued to grow, even until now. So for like 10 years, 11, a dozen years. Mark Sheldon, no longer the mayor, but now the president or the chairman of the Airport Authority Board. So he still gets like, I think it's close to $1 million a year. Part of it's operational, part of it's marketing money from the TDC. It's seed money that's gone on for like a dozen years. It's like the Solyndra of the music industry. If you think Solyndra or the Somalians have anything on these guys, you haven't even heard the beginning. This is really just kind of opening up what the local nonprofits do. Now, there's a much bigger nonprofit whose CEO just resigned 2 days ago. Not in the news. I haven't reported it yet, but it's going to have to be. And that's the Venus Flytrap of Bay County. The Venus Flytrap of Bay County. Some people call it the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center, where this nonprofit claims it gets like $10 million, $15 million in federal VOCA money, Victims of Crime Act. And they claim they're there just to provide services to the children. But what they really do is they take young kids and they put them in an interrogation room. and they have what's called a CPT, a Child Protective Team exam. And these children are brought into room 101, like in 1984. They're brought into the interrogation room. Okay, the parents are told to come there for a voluntary interview for services. Your child might need some therapy, and we've got all the great therapy, and it's a safe place at the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center. But what they really do is they take the kids into the interrogation room. They got all the cops lined up looking through the window. They got the audio coming in. They're video recording it. And your child is in there being asked questions about crimes without an attorney. Never, ever should a child or anybody be interrogated with law enforcement and have no representation. Only one lawyer has tried to do that, and that was Hoot Crawford. He was the Marcy's Law attorney for a 16-year-old back in 2022. It was a voluntary interview, and she didn't want to go in there alone and be interrogated with the cops looking through the window. And then after that, by the way, you know what they do with those with the CD that they record? They hand them out. They hand out copies after the child goes in there and discloses God knows what. Who wants a copy? Everybody gets a copy. There is no security attached to these copies. Some of them ended up they were recorded in 2021, and they ended up in Lynn Haven Police Sergeant McAlendon's home that was being foreclosed. Confidential, several of them. Child Protective Team exams. Okay? And they were found by his estranged wife. They're getting a divorce. They say she's crazy. Well, how did she end up with him? Well, he's on the task force. He's permitted to have these kind of things. Bernie, he's the evidence custodian. Really, it's pretty shitty evidence custodian. When he was investigated by the sheriff's office, wasn't a real investigation, and by Lynn Haven police, you know what he said those CDs were? I don't think those are child protective exams. I think those are from when I did fake drug busts, fake buys, controlled buys is what they call them. Back when I was at Panama City 15, 20 years ago. Nobody knew. These poor children's CDs are flying all over the place illegally. And what does Lynn Haven do? These CDs can only be used for government purposes. And they can only be used for government purposes if they are in the proper custody and control of only those who are allowed to have them. And they're not. City of Lynn Haven, Chris Chief Lightfoot, the interim city manager, gave them back to the sergeant so he could use them privately. He gave them to his personal attorney, defense attorney, for lawsuits. So the city of Lynn Haven has committed a serious crime, and everybody's trying to tell me, well, he's permitted to have Child Protective Team exams from 2021. He abandoned them. He didn't even know they were there. He didn't know what they were. Whose children are on those? What was said? Well, we don't know because he's using them for his personal use. I'm telling you, this better get fixed. Anyway, the Children's Advocacy Center that throws these CDs all over the world, I can't imagine what anybody might do with them. What this law enforcement around here might do, extortion, I don't know. But I can't imagine anything they might do with them. But they're flying around. Anyway, the CEO of the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center, Lori Allen, the daughter of the former number 3 at the sheriff's office that led the investigation against Margot Anderson, Jimmy Stanford's daughter, Lori Allen, she was making well over $200,000 a year as the CEO of the Venus Flytrap of Bay County. And she resigned 2 days ago. I do not know the circumstances. Maybe she took a better position and is moving there. I don't know why yet. I just know that the resignation has occurred or whatever it is. And that place gets a hell of a lot more money than the TDC. They get like $10, $15 million in federal VOCA money. And that's contingent upon them taking care of the CPT DVDs, securing them in the proper control and custody. And they don't do that. And everybody around here thinks it's a joke. I'm going to test that theory. And I don't know where the other good men are. I don't know who these children are. I don't know who the families are. And if I knew who they were, I would still be the same. I would still have the same amount of determination to make sure the most vulnerable among us get the protection. And I didn't expect this tonight. I am really pissed off that everybody's making the craziest excuses I've ever heard in my life. So anyway, the local nonprofits and NGOs that are swimming in dough, I think people are finally starting to realize what's really going on around here and why some people have those big giant houses and fancy cars and clothes that make them look like they're straight out of the Hunger Games, while the rest of us are dealing with higher assessments. But it's just a little bit. Let me show you how this whole thing works. How's that for being sidetracked? You got to forgive me. So this is, these are the Bay County commissioners. All right, you got Claire Pease, who's the chairwoman. You got Doug Moore, Robert Carroll. Goodness, I'm forgetting names. I can't believe I'm forgetting these guys' names. I don't know them that well. Cantrell, and will somebody write the names for me? And forgive me, you two. It's not that you're not important. It's that my brain's fried is all it is. So this is the county commission, and they're the ones that created, not these people, but the commission. They created the Tourist Development Council, the government body that advises them on how to spend nearly $60 million a year from the tourist development tax, the bed tax. So what you see in writing up there is from September of last year, all right? The TDC board, which recommends, well, actually, I probably should show you this first, and then that'll make more sense. Okay, this is how it works. On September 16th of last year, the Bay County Commissioners voted to approve the TDC board's review of its own budgets, last year's budgets. When Aaron Lee was stealing all the money and all the other stuff. And the TDC board that advises the county commission, they found the budgets, they reviewed them, and they found them to adhere to state statutes and acceptable policies and practices. This was all during a county commission meeting. On that day, that's when the county commission voted to approve this year's fiscal year budget to fund the CVB nonprofit. Claire Pease, I misspelled Claire and I apologize, is the chair of the county commission. Remember? Right here. Claire Pease is the chairwoman of the commission. All right. And but she's also the chairwoman of the TDC. And she's also the chairwoman of the CVB. All right, all of them. Now, Yonnie Patronis was the treasurer of the TDC and CVB at the time that all the bad stuff happened. And a couple of weeks ago, he relinquished the treasurer role, and banker Jeff DeBenedictis has taken over as the treasurer. The TDC is the government advisory board to the county commission. The TDC is the governing body that oversees the CVB nonprofit. The TDC is the government advisory board to the county commission. See how simple is it? The TDC is the governing body that oversees. Okay, so TDC chairwoman Claire Pease, oversees the CVB chairwoman, Claire Pease. Then TDC chairwoman, Claire Pease, advises County Commission chairwoman, Claire Pease. What are we at here? 25 minutes into the show. Put a pin in that. Different legal entities, layers of corruption, plausible deniability. Reminder, complexity masks fraud. The TDC and the CVB hold joint meetings, and they'll have one Monday morning at 9 a.m. I think it's called the Hair on Fire meeting, where they have to accept Dan Rowe's resignation. Go right off in the sunset. Oh, we're not going to beat a dead horse. No, I'm not going to do it every time. When you do it too much, it's not funny, okay? Now, from top to bottom, the TDC and CVB, they hold these joint meetings. They're going to have one Monday morning, Panama City Beach, where the 9 board members are the exact same people. So if you want to see a magic show, there's a free one. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, City Hall, Panama City Beach. You're going to see the governing body of the nonprofit, those 9 board members, led by Chairwoman Claire Pease. And they're going to be up there overseeing the CVB board. The same people oversee each other. And then the CVB board will vote. And then the TDC board will go recommend to the county commission board. That's when TDC Chairwoman Pease advises County Commission Chairwoman Pease and says, as the TDC Chairwoman Pease, I've been overseeing the CVB Chairwoman Pease, and everything's cool in the gang, especially the budget. Yonnie Patronis is the treasurer. Oh, the county commission goes, oh, yeah. Doug Moore goes, we know he's good. Everybody goes, Patronis. And they go, well, then how much do you want for 2026? And they say, just a little bit more is all. Because Dan Rowe gets a $500 car allowance. He's only getting $340,000 a year or something, you know. And he's been a victim now. So just a little bit more. That's how this works. See? So from top to bottom, they advise and oversee themselves. And now they're investigating themselves. So now they got a third task. Now the annual slush fund, I'm sorry, the annual TDC CVB budget is close to $60 million. And they also have a cool $103 million in a restricted account. See? And I put the agenda, a picture of the agenda in that post, which was posted yesterday. Oh yeah, I got to go back to this. So this is from the agenda. Now that you got how it works. So the county commission gets together, Chairwoman Claire Pease, and all these guys, Doug Moore. I forgot the names again. And it says this was in their agenda packet on that day, September 16, 2025. And the county commission reviews their agenda packet. It's all very serious. And it says each year, and this is the TDC has confirmed that the CVB has got a good budget, very clean, followed all the rules, and spent the money exactly the way it should be spent, they told the TDC. And then the TDC relayed that to the county commission. And this is what it said. Each year, the county enters into contracts with the Panama City Beach Convention and the CVB. The Mexico Beach Community Development Council, they also have one. A lot of these cities have these little nonprofit slush funds. All right. And the tourist development, all of these, Panama City, the purpose of these funds, these tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, are derived from the tourist development tax, collected within each respective community to advertise and promote the tourism industry for that respective community. Now, on September 9, this particular meeting was September 16, but the county commissioners read on their agenda, it says on September 9, the Bay County Tourist Development Council reviewed the budgets September of last year and programs of work from each destination marketing organization and found them to adhere. So the TDC said, look, we have reviewed the budgets and the expenditures, the work the programs of work, and especially in Visit Panama City Beach, Visit PCB, CVB. It is really it's clean as a whistle. We've hired a fraud czar. All right, Aaron Lee's on top of it, and so is Treasurer's Yonnie Patronis. And the commissioners again go, Yonnie Patronis, yeah, it's good then. Okay, and the TDC, which is advising the county commission here, says, respectfully request the acceptance of the 2026 fiscal year budgets and all the stuff we're going to do, all the trips we're going to take, Bora Bora, Vegas, New York, that kind of thing. And for the Board of County, Paris, concerts, London, woohoo. And it goes on. And for the Board of County Commissioners, we ask that you will respectfully and respectively, we have reviewed with the policies and procedures and the guidelines. These people take themselves so seriously as they imagine what contempt they have for us behind closed doors. I just thought I'd share that with you tonight. And that's all I want to share with you tonight. Again, it's Friday night already. It's 8:49. I wasn't even going to do a show tonight. I was all excited about 2:15, thinking I was going to go home, have a nice evening, and give my brain a rest. It's been a busy week. And thanks to you, we had 3.5 million views in the past 28 days. Somebody said, this is because of you, Bernie. Thank you. On a comment. And I said, it's because of you. It's because of this momentum. It's because you're here. It's this momentum. And the best thing you can do, it sounds so stupid. Like and share and comment. Tell everybody about it. Because there's a lot more. All right, I'll tell you this if I haven't told you this. So my public record request, my last one, and they're taking forever. They didn't want to give me one document, one paper. That'll be $689, Bernie, for one paper. We had a lot of review. I'm expecting that email anytime. So now what I want to know is, I got to thinking about it because I've been investigating Mark Sheldon and the Gulf Coast Jam, and they get all that money. They've been getting like $1.5 million a year, Mark Sheldon's companies, and Randy Lovelady. They've been getting a boatload of money to market and promote the music festival. And I thought, man, I remember last year, and I'm going to find it, I'll show it to you. Sheriff Ford's Facebook page, the official Facebook page, said, we're giving a bunch of Gulf Coast children. Oh, God, I'm confusing. That's not what he said. He said a bunch of Gulf Coast Jam tickets to deputies or to somebody. They were giving them away. Sheriff's office had a bunch of these tickets they were giving away. And some of these tickets, the VIP tickets, how much are they? Does anybody know how much the VIP tickets are? Are they like $499 or something? I was like, I wonder how many, since the TDC board, the CVB, the whole same people, since they are shoveling millions of dollars of seed money, say the jokes, to the Gulf Coast to the Gulf Coast Jam, companies owned by the former mayor, Mark Moneymover Sheldon and Randy Lovelady. I wonder if they're getting any tickets. Like, does the board receive tickets? I was like, I bet they do. How many? Because you see oftentimes pictures, all of the cool kids, they're in the VIP taking selfies and partying it up. Now they got the money to do that, but do they spend their own money? I got thinking, I'll bet you there's a bunch of Gulf Coast Jam tickets. And then I thought, wait a minute. How many other companies are getting money from the TDC? And do they get like gift cards? I'll bet you there's a ton. of gift cards and Gulf Coast Jam tickets that are being given to people as kickbacks or largesse. I want to find out. Hey, I don't know how long they're going to take to get the public record request back to me, because I asked for any gift certificates valued at, see, elected officials they're not supposed to take gifts for anything more than $100. $100 or more, they have to report it. And if they don't, it's an ethics violation, and perhaps worse, depending on the frequency, the amount, the quid pro quo, all of that. So this investigation is just underway. And but if you have any information, if you know, do I have the email? I don't think I have it up. Please email me at watchdogalert at protonmail.com. If you say, I can't remember what that is, it's on this Facebook page. It's up on the left. It says, email me here. I hope. Yeah, I'm curious about that, aren't you? So since elected officials cannot receive a gift, if they get a gift card for $100, they're supposed to report it. But around here, who the hell is going to enforce that? But why take chances? So I asked for any gift certificates valued at $99 or more. How much you want to bet? There are $99 gift cards, stacks of them, because you don't know, you don't have to report those, but you do have to log them, I believe, if they're doing that. I'm sure Sheriff Tommy Ford he knows, because he's got his crack investigators and, what did he say, expert forensic auditors. I mean, hell, everybody's digging into this, so they're going to find out. But if they miss it, if it slips through the cracks, I'm hoping to be there to catch it. I could use some of those $99 gift certificates. I'm not into the Gulf Coast Jam, and I know they're super cool, because I don't like crowds and all that stuff, but I know a lot of people do. And by the way, each the members there's 9 members of the board, right? And I remember when Mayor Teddimer got elected a couple years ago, he actually wanted to be on the TDC board because they were changing him out. I think Phil Chester had been on the board, and Paul Casto. No. Was it Phil Chester and Paul Casto had been on the board? Yeah, they'd been on the board in like 2023 and 2024. So when Stuart Teddimer got elected mayor, he really wanted to be on the TDC board. And boy, Mike Jarman and Ethan Register, they were like going nuts, because Mark Sheldon was the mayor, the owner of Gulf Coast Jam. And they were like, no. We need to be on the board. You be on a different board. You could look at the roads or something. But we need to be on it. And they did. They got themselves on the TDC board. So for the last almost 2 years, Ethan Register and Mike Jarman have been on the TDC board. 2 of the city council members are on the 9-member TDC board, which is also the CVB board. And so I was like, man, I need to find out if there's a racket like that going on. So if you know, again, please email me, watchdogalert at protonmail.com. Thank you so much to the Unknown Patriot for your support, and to all of you who say, Bernie, you deserve a tip for this free entree, as little as $5 a month at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's easy, it's anonymous, and you can quit at any time. If you've been wanting to reach me and you're frustrated and you want my undivided attention, one way you can guarantee to rope me down, and that is by booking a call at calendly.com/Bernie Thompson. It's very easy. There are dates and times, and you click it, and I get a notice, and you get my undivided attention. So that's one way to do it for sure. And I appreciate all of you who have done that. He'll be there. He's indicated, the former treasurer, he's indicated that he does not want to serve anymore. That's an actual photo from the last TDC meeting just about 2 weeks ago. And if you haven't heard, Dan Rowe has resigned, and I drove him right on out of there just as soon as I found out. I mean, they were just, it's funny how quick people forget about you. When you're the TDC guy with all the stuff, man, everybody wants to, you need a limo, Dan? You better believe it. But man, once they throw you out, boy, there's just no kindness anymore. And I want to make sure I can do that.
You have to have faith. You have to believe that we're in control of our own destiny. That you can save me, that I can save you. You have to have faith.